Greetings, everybody. We're back with more D&D Abeyance, and therefore I'm going to hand it over to Nick.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Abeyance. We are in episode, I'm going to call it 3, but Peter, you can post this under whatever title on your channel whenever it gets...
It's technically technically the 4th episode, technically. But calling it 3, you can call it 3 if you want to. I don't care.
I'm just going to get into, comic book issue numbering schemes for my own
Oh, dear God, don't do that. No, we'll be back in issue 0 again in 2 weeks.
Exactly. Now, calm down, everyone. We still haven't introduced Bleach chapter numbering. We aren't going to hit negative chapters.
Oh, thank God.
That's a thing.
Yes.
Oh, but yeah.
We're a limited edition foil cover right now, aren't we?
Which one, Eric? There are 4.
Yeah, that's right. There's variants. Are we going to be issue 4A, issue 4B? Ooh. So last time we were on here, we got 100% confirmation that Reiko is dead. D-E-D, dead. But there is a problem, which is that her soul is in abeyance. No one knows where she's supposed to be going, including Reiko herself. And so, as per normal, she kind of was going to get directed over to Gideon and Dantalion to figure out what her situation was, but they were already on their way over to central processing in order to figure that stuff out. Kind of got stuff passed on to them in person, and were given instruction to keep an eye on Reiko because the previous Souls Not Reaped that have had situations at least somewhat similar to hers keep on going missing after they leave central processing before they can get to anywhere else. Reiko's still around, so that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Tananars and Jerome, who are on an unrelated mission in the vicinity when Reiko disappeared and died, ended up hearing about some of the fallout of that as her peers realized she was missing. Came back to Limbo in order to report on their progress, and then in order to follow up on, hey, let's go see if that missing teenager has shown up here, found out that, yes, she has, and so all 5 of our heroes have met up, and we've reached at least temporary arrangement where Reiko is going to be working in Gideon and Dantalion's office, which works out for everyone, because they clearly need some organizational help. Reiko loves all this death shit, and hey, an extra pair of eyes might end up helping things along. All 5 of you are now all in various overlapping situations together. Hooray! You're a party now.
If you've been dead for less than 3 hours, do you still have fresh eyes?
It depends on how quickly the ravens get to you.
Yeah.
I will say that
I
have the feeling that there's sort of this sort of energy of Jerome and Tan being hijacked. Okay, we need to confiscate these 2 or commandeer these 2 for a job. Just
good luck.
We need to commandeer this change.
The only one who is allowed to confiscate Reiko is her girlfriend.
Yeah, fair.
Well, she can't even do that because she's dead.
We can't.
Or because you're dead at the time.
Yeah, we can't arrange that quite yet, unless.
Hey, consent is key. Okay.
Fair.
Well, it's not just going to be a consent issue. There is also going to be there's going to be rituals involved that are probably forbidden.
Well, that's
at least very frowned upon. Naughty.
All right, you guys. Fortunately, in the case of Tan and Jerome, although you are not officially affiliated with Dantalion and Gideon's investigative office, you guys do have sufficient leeway in your work as kind of semi-independent workers that you are able to keep on working on this situation as you see fit. So that is not going to be an issue from this point forward.
It is the only boon of our gig economy life that we have,
Absolutely, you don't get insurance, but you make your own hours. I would say you're your own boss, but Jerome kind of isn't. Tan mostly is. So I'm going to say that at the point from the point we left off, about a day-ish has passed.
Okay.
As you guys were kind of working on just okay, let's get these files organized. In some cases, let's kind of just, review what we have learned in this case. Some of you, I'm sure at some point, go home. Speaking of which, Wind, if you can make for me a wisdom saving throw for Reiko, please. That's 10. A 10. Okay. So over time, while you're just kind of like getting settled into Gideon and Dentalion's office, you're going through files and stuff. And eventually you kind of find, as you're like looking over names to put them in like alphabetical order, reviewing dates to see how they line up, etc. Just kind of like data processing work. You've kind of gradually find it harder and harder to focus. And Peter, Eric, yes. Gideon and Dentalion, it is very clear to you that Reiko is suffering from the issue that a lot of new residents of Limbo do, which is she doesn't realize she's getting tired. The issue is that as you guys are souls, you don't have physical bodies.
Right.
You don't have the physical needs to attend to, like you don't get hungry. Your body doesn't experience fatigue.
Right.
However, doing something constantly over and over again, even if you have the physical capability to do it, you can still get mentally tired. And that's what's going on with Reiko. That's why you guys have places to go home to and go to sleep.
Right.
Hey kid, why don't you take a break and go crash out for a little while? You're getting tired.
I'm fine. How long have I been doing this?
Approximately 18 hours. You should go rest.
Ah, crap. You got a desk open? Wait, what am I asking? Of course you don't.
No. We should. There should be housing arranged for you. Hang on, let me double check where you're supposed to be going for this.
Yes.
Oh, good. I get my own desk.
You don't have to roll for that. The word on that came through.
Oh, good. That came through already. All right.
A long time ago.
I figured that. Yeah. I basically yes. There's a note on your desk with the address of your place to stay.
Oh, thank you.
In fact, I probably should go actually lie down for at least an hour. I will show you the general direction you need to be walking.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, let's kill it for the day.
It occurs to me that I don't actually know where anything is anywhere.
Yes, that is probably why it'd be wise for me to show you how to get there. Remind me to give you a map tomorrow.
I will definitely do that.
Good.
I wonder if Reiko finds it weird that she needs to be given a map because everyone just kind of uses GPS to get everywhere these days.
Yeah.
That would be
no orbit for the satellite.
Exactly.
It's the ghost positioning system.
Ghost positioning system.
I wish there were a mechanic I could reward you with for that, Ash.
That is pretty good.
We're just gonna if you just you know what,
Ash gets a free reroll.
Yeah, Ash, if you want to at some point just have advantage on a roll this session, just you can just give it to yourself if I don't mention it because it's too good.
That's good. That's real good. But even if that exists, Gideon would absolutely go to a map first.
Oh, sure. He's old school.
Yeah.
At this point, Reiko gets to kind of see what more of the world of Limbo looks like. You guys did make a beeline from one office to another, whereas now you guys are going to, at least start going into residential districts and stuff.
Right.
There are tons of just like apartments that exist within Limbo. Whenever space needs to exist, it exists. There is no rent, fortunately, but the accommodations don't tend to be great for most people. It's, very utilitarian. But you guys kind of like go down the streets. Reiko, you were also able to take in some of the sites, which aren't very interesting. There's kind of just this, not necessarily grayness about everything, but like if dull were a color, it would be that. And I say not specifically gray because if I say it's one color, then you might think it's an actual aesthetic choice.
No, I get what you mean. It's drab as hell.
Yeah.
Why are all hallways painted that
Neo-Soviet
color?
brutalism. Gotcha.
And there's just not like a lot of general like decoration. There's not there. You do see some signs as as you pass by them because people do have businesses set up. But there's not like neon lighting or anything along those lines. It's just like here's a poster advertising my business. That's just kind of it. And eventually you're led to your apartment. Like I said, very utilitarian. So in all five of you at different points during this day, I'm just going to say like you all go home at some point or another.
Mm-hmm.
On the way over, Reika will ask, do you all not get noble gases down here?
What? Noble... 1 minute. Yes. No. Not really, no.
Oh, that explains the lack of neon signs.
Huh. I guess it would.
Miss neon signs and rain.
It depends on where... there are parts of Limbo where they might have them, actually. It wouldn't surprise me, at least.
I'd like to see those.
They're not very interesting.
I'm not thinking that at least someone in Tan's community makes them and just like, no, we're not going anywhere near that place.
Speaking of which, actually, Tan, you're the only person I've really talked to about like the situation that you're living in because we had some notes on that. Do you want to like go through this or should I? Because we have discussed the details of this ahead of time.
I can describe like the nature of where, or in what respect you're talking about, just like the location where Tan lives, or like his place in Limbo.
I mean, I can, I guess, set up the former, and we can kind of go into the latter if you'd like. I mean, physical location.
Physical location. Okay. I could just go into that if you would like me to.
Go right ahead.
But,
yes.
All right. So we're just like cutting to this place, or is this a place we just happened to be passing by?
This would be like we're gonna like just kind of cut over to like like you arriving for the evening, basically.
Okay. So the way I sort of viewed when I was developing Tan as a character, I leaned really heavily into sort of the artisan component of his work, and so.
Sorry. Okay.
Okay. So I wanted to so the idea of like where or how does Tan live outside of the day-to-day work, and then I had the thought of like, well, what if Tan lives in some community or commune of other artisans and such? So the where Tan lives is in some what is effectively like an apartment building or apartment complex, maybe one that was demolished in the physical realm and somehow became reformed in Limbo. And among other things, it's sort of like a little pocket where there's various individuals with different artisan craft disciplines and the like. The first floor almost feels like a shopping mall type energy, but like not, more like small and not like, super commercial feeling. Just because things are kind of open and people kind of explore and see things. And another notable trait of the building is a high preponderance of the spirit of animals being there, especially like various domesticated animals or pet animals that would have been pets that have either have passed before their owners have or have lost trace of where their owners have gone.
Yeah, and so you kind of come into this commune where you live. There is something of like a big courtyard. Like I'm going to say like the apartment is kind of like U-shaped. And then in the center of the U is where just like all sorts of artsy folk gather around. Like there's a circle where writers exchange ideas. There are people who just kind of like put their general work on display. And just people hanging out to kind of give themselves ideas. This is legitimately, Tan, one of the most cheerful places in all of Limbo, because it's people who lived for just kind of being artistic and creating things, and they have the room and time to do that now.
Right.
They may not have ideas as to where they're supposed to go after this, but in the meantime, they're still able to do stuff that makes them feel happy.
Right. Yeah, I'd say that's the intended energy of this place, of this complex, which I don't have a name for. So, any ideas for? Yeah. But that's where Tan heads off to, whether by himself or if anyone else just happens to catch him, as they move around.
And as you arrive, you get a few different people who just recognize you, give a friendly wave. You say, "Hey, Tan!" Like you've got good neighbors.
Yes.
There is you see on one of the roofs way up above you, Verda, who is the most renowned botanist in Limbo. I say botanist, but she just designs artificial plants.
Right.
Because shit don't grow where in the land of the dead. There are very few, in terms of things that are grown, vegetables and crops and everything like that. There are very few things that are readily available, and they have to be imported from somewhere else. There is an interesting arrangement for like coffee beans in particular, because of something to do with like people are dead without their coffee or something like that. I don't know. There maybe Gideon knows the story, but no one else does. It's a really old arrangement where like coffee's just available, but a lot of other things are hard to come by. So if anyone wants flowers or house plants or anything like that to spruce up just the general atmosphere of a place, you can't get an actual one. You have to get an artificial one, and that's where Verda has such a specialty in, is that she can create all sorts of plastic or other artificial materials into very convincing substitutes. And there's a huge market for it that there wouldn't normally be in the physical world. And there are like all sorts of vines and stuff hanging around the ring of the roof, which is why she's up there. It looks like it's overgrown with plant life, even though it's all fake. And also, as you approach, you see that a clockwork specialist by the name of Arbor has kind of moved their work desk outside for the day. And he gives you a little wave as well as you're heading in to your place.
I will... Tan will approach Arbor and then just sort of greet cheerfully along the lines of, I take it you wanted a different vista for your work for today?
Well, it didn't seem like it would be appropriate to work on this if there weren't an appropriate view for him. And he rather kind of like indicates that the clockwork thing that he's working on is this kind of scene of a researcher with a telescope who kind of bends down towards this large telescope and makes adjustments, and the lens of it extends outwards into the sky.
Is this a personal project or is it for someone else?
The whim just kind of struck me,
Well, I will avoid impeding on your work unless there's anything you'd like to discuss for the time being.
Oh, no, not right now. What are you? What's going on with you?
Oh, the standard gig for the most part. Helped a professor make some amends with their relative who is off researching. And now there are some complications that seem to be arising with a newcomer to Limbo.
Oh? you don't normally tend to wait. And he kind of like stops work because he was clearly like, kind of like going back and forth between talking with you, focusing on making really tiny adjustments. But then like the conversation kind of catches up with him and he looks up from his work fully and says, so you helped someone out and then another thing. What did that happen at the same time?
More or less. The timing was strangely coincidental, but it's you work enough jobs and a coincidence or two is bound to show up.
Make an insight check for me.
Certainly. Oh shit. I for some reason didn't push over to roll 20.
Okay.
Yeah, it's for some reason it's not connecting over the way that's supposed to for me right now.
That sucks.
I rolled an 8 on my first pass. Let's try one more time here. Okay, yeah. I rolled an 8 at the first pass. Is connecting over.
Okay, it came over.
Hooray!
All right. Well, as you say that, Arbor, the clockwork designer, just kind of like pauses and looks at you for a little bit, and then goes, I guess that might come up occasionally. Yeah. Well, I hope that you're able to figure that out. Sorry. And they just seem kind of like generally get kind of distracted. But they kind of make an effort to hone back in on talking with you and say, all right, Tan, well, I'm glad that things are going mostly well. But if you do want to talk about anything, then sorry. Yeah, just say the word, okay?
Certainly, I will keep that in mind. I wish you the best in finishing this particular project.
Well, thank you. I'll be happy to show it to you when it's complete.
You'll know where to find me. And he sort of waves gently, and Tan sort of walks towards wherever his particular apartment is.
Yeah. Tan, you do have you were kind of mentioning different floors and stuff. Do you think that there's different groupings of if you're a painter, then they tend to live over here or that kind of thing? Or do you think it's just I think there's certain cliques or certain groups of folks who might live close to each other. But I don't think it's a strict thing. I do believe that when you're in the first floor where most people end up kind of walking around in, that's where you'll find the most clear groupings of disciplines. And then as you and then when you go upstairs, it's it kind of varies. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I'm honing in on certain details, but certain aspects of this do kind of just stand out in my mind.
Right. I mean, if any other questions are had amongst the group, feel free to just throw it out there. But
All right.
I'm wondering how many sculptors are stone sculptors are still around.
There are quite a few, and they do not surprisingly tend to be the ones who most often use the courtyard area because it takes a lot of space to do that. All right. Anyone else have any notes while just generally bedding down?
Well, I can fairly succinctly describe basically Gideon's quote apartment end quote.
Cool.
Which is very sort of archetypical sort of detective film noir boat room. It is a room with one of those sort of fold away beds.
I was going to actually joke if there was a fold away.
There is. There absolutely is. And basically, only things of note in the room are a large collection of history books, and and the one actually genuinely nice thing in the room is the chess set.
Aww. I kind of feel like it was the day that foldaway beds were invented that Gideon was among the happier that he's ever been. He was like, oh yes, more efficient use of space.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, it's it's very utilitarian. The walls are taupe because
Yeah.
of course they are.
Ah, it's Skitch's favorite color.
It's a very soothing color.
Yeah, it is. There's a reason neutrotones get used on walls.
Mm-hmm.
In contrast, Dentalian's room is dominated by a big round bed. And it's very much got the vibe of like one of those like hippie bedrooms with like all the curtains and drapery and everything. But it's all very tattered and in grays and blacks.
You don't actually have a radio, but somehow there's still always sitar music playing.
There's
Like,
always like out of tune sitar music playing.
the fact that you said I immediately got done talking about efficiency of space, and you say you go with a round bed.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a fairly extensive liquor cabinet against one wall where he just reaches in, pulls out what seemingly random bottle, and drinks straight from it while sitting on the edge of his bed for a while.
Yeah, you were trying to just kind of elegance your way out of having your session with Robert this week, and it was kind of decided for you that it was going to be in a couple of days.
Yeah,
so
not
that's-
happy about that.
Yeah.
There might be progress in my case, and I can't have that.
It's just like a casino. I gotta reapply for the food services job. I'll get my application put down to the bottom. I'll buy me a few more months, and I'll be fine. I'll be fine.
The Van Wilder of the afterlife. Jesus.
Basically.
Right. So now we're gonna be going into if there's no more notes there, just kind of like the next day / also what you guys were working on at the end of the previous day. There are a number of different things that now have been laid out for you. We've got these case files that are in front of you, and also just the general weirdness surrounding Reiko's position here.
Right.
And also, a few different meetings were set up. What do you guys individually and as a group want to be working on and trying to figure out?
Well,
So-
Reiko's current task is to organize all of the SNR files so that she can, compile them through a spreadsheet and just like to help like find patterns and whatnot. So that's
Yeah.
what she's focusing on. Like that was the task she volunteered for and was assigned, so she's gonna do it.
Okay.
I definitely see St. Jerome taking his downtime from his job for the moment to sort of keep an eye on things in the world of the living, like on an official basis, to see if Riko's body turns up anywhere, or if anybody mentions that she is actually missing, or anything like that. See if anybody comes by to collect her things, such as it were.
Okay.
He wants to keep an eye on that front because, like, without her body, it's kind of a breach waiting to happen.
Right. Okay.
He really suspects there's going to be a lot of trouble if something doesn't break on that front.
Okay. I am actually taking notes for you guys now. Now we're all taking notes on each other. Ooh. So.
I can say Gideon is almost certainly going to be the one thing. The one thing he's going to want to get from the SNR files before Reiko does any sorting is to note down the name of each Reaper associated with each of the files, so that he can then contact each of them on his own to ask them questions. Basically, he's probably going to spend the next day or two on the phone with various Reapers who've been associated with the associated with the SNRs. That is the first avenue of investigation he's going to take.
All right. Tan and Dantalion.
I think what Dantalion's going to do is, He has an actual job he needs to do. So he's going to be once Reiko has some of these files sorted, like start picking down from the ones that she's already got sorted, seeing like who needs what services and what other periphery individuals need to be interviewed to figure out where these individuals need to go.
Okay. Now, I will reiterate that an issue with that is going on here is that the people that these files belong to aren't in Limbo. No one knows where they are. So, I just want to point that out. Now, all this that's going on, I will give you guys something regardless of everything else. But I just want to point that out before, if you want to do anything different, depending on going that.
Where it also helps us track down where
they were supposed to be and such.
Where they're supposed to be, and where it might have happened to them. Because like if we know what peripherals we need to talk to, it also tells us where they should have been going, and therefore where we can start eliminating where they are.
Okay. All right. I'll take that. And Tan, what are you up to?
Yeah, I mean, outside of just, the only thing I could think of is probably, assuming, it's the next day or so, probably seeking out and finding either Jerome or just the others to just sort of observe things or to talk things over with Jerome with respect to, like, everything that's been going on,
Okay. Yep. That is totally fine. Yeah.
I imagine Jerome has a lot of downtime, even while he's kind of keeping an eye on these things. He's definitely has time to shoot the breeze and talk things out with Tan.
Yeah.
The question is where are they going to do their social link interaction? Is it going to be at Jerome's place, or is it going to be at Tan's place?
Yeah, I will say that yes, you don't all have to be working on separate things, and it would in fact in some cases be to your advantage to be working on the same things, because then you'll be able to help each other.
Yep.
So all right, so we're going to start with Jerome and Tan then. Well, that's assuming that Tan, you wanted to meet up with Jerome. You can, of course, hang out at the Gideon office if that's more to your liking. Or you could meet up with Jerome and work your way over there, whatever you want to do.
I think that last one makes a bit of sense. I think it would be they will initially meet, and then I think they would make their way over to the offices as they. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Ash?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start with you guys in the morning, and I'll tell you guys what you're able to learn right away there. So let's see. Okay. What kind of things should I give you here? Just give me investigation checks for this. This is gonna be just to establish baseline what you know at the start of the day.
All right, so Tan's got a 13.
Jerome's got 18.
18. All right. So the situation as it stands in the morning is that at this point, from what you were able to determine, Reiko, her body has not been found. You're able to determine that because at this point it's kind of become a topic of interest, and so there are some people that are just in the physical world just kind of monitoring the general situation because it's a developing thing. There is an emergency situation has been declared there because a student is missing. There are people who are trying to find Reiko in the caves, but it's also a tricky situation because it's a cave and an archaeological site. Mm-hmm. There are all those complications that come in. There are rescue workers that are trying to just move in. And then, however, when the associated university came in, they brought the point of you can't just send rescue workers diving into this site of a research station because it could disturb this and that. There is bureaucracy and stuff getting involved in it. So they are working on that. You also know that word has been sent at this point to Reiko's emergency contacts, because it is at this point been almost 24 hours since she went missing. So that's just like going to happen. That's what you know at the start of the day. And then you guys can... So you guys know that. You can talk about that. And also, there is a message that arrives for Jerome using one of those kind of hydraulic tube system things that are in place. Just tube arrives the message.
Oh, this hardly ever happens. The tubes at my residence don't work.
Go ahead.
He goes over, he pops it open and he takes a look at it.
It is a message that even with your owl eyes, you gotta need to peer at, and you realize that it was because Maurice wrote it, and in his very tiny mouse handwriting. But it is really just kind of a memo, just of like, oh, just in case you're interested, kind of thing. Letting you know that as far as they are aware, the case of Professor Bergman that you guys were both working on is resolved, but he's not moving on yet because he learned that, his niece on this situation that he was really concerned about had a student go missing. So he's just kind of sticking around to at least figure out if that gets resolved. So he's still in limbo. It's probably nothing that you guys need to actually do anything to take care of, but I, as the DM, am letting you know that if you want to talk to him, it will be easy to do so if you feel like that's an option to explore. But that's just kind of like a thing of like, Maurice knows that you guys are involved in the situation still, and so he's just giving you this information just because it might help.
Like, Jerome's just... He's looking down there of his allies. I need to get Jerome a typewriter.
He'll just jump from key to key.
I'm pretty sure that if you wish to have a typewriter, I'm sure someone at the Fulcrum could provide such.
Another thing I'll point out is that Maurice chooses to take that form. He could take a different form if he wanted to. That would, be more convenient for everyone else.
Maurice is just running the long troll as a mouse.
All right. So that is what you guys know at the top of the morning. I will let you know more as the day unfolds.
All right.
Okay. So you guys make your way over to the office then?
Yeah.
Okay. Before you arrive, so we've got a couple of different things going on between Gideon, Dantalion, and Reiko.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gideon, yours kind of takes precedent because you can just kind of like scan the files, and it should be pretty prominent, like who the Reaper on duty for each.
That's what I was. I was assuming that wouldn't get in the way of Reiko's work. So,
also give me an investigation check on
absolutely.
This should be a really low DC, but for what you're trying to determine. But
all right, investigation. Here we go. Boop. And that's why is it doing that?
It does seem like there might be a delay that's going on with Roll20.
For some reason, it's doing the 3D roll thing in and beyond. And
there might be just a server desync there. So reloading your character page should reestablish a connection.
Okay. I think that everyone might want to do that, but yeah.
There we go.
Okay, 12. That is plenty for you are basically looking at between each file and looking in the corner where it says Reaper assigned and noting the name down. Yep. So it's But what you find is that there are a couple of Reapers assigned to a few different people, but a lot of them don't have one assigned.
Some of them don't have one assigned. That's interesting.
Now, that's not super unusual.
Okay.
Because in some cases, a person dies and they will just show up in limbo, and they just proceed on to their afterlife. The Reapers will in person handle cases where they need to retrieve the person and bring them into the
All right.
afterlife.
So one question I have is for the people
Go
who
ahead.
just sort of appeared in limbo. So when people just appear in limbo in that sort of situation instead of a Reaper being assigned to them, would they appear sort of at the front desk type thing?
In some cases, yes. Now,
are there areas where they would generally be showing up initially?
some of them just show up at the pearly gates. Some of them show up at the river Styx. Those standard, this is the crossover point into the afterlife. They just, show up there, based on whatever their faith is. And in the cases of those that don't have quote unquote an afterlife, they, are reincarnated,
Right.
or they just,
so
proceed into the void.
Okay, so are the soul SNR files primarily for people who are supposed to be going somewhere in limbo? Is my first question. Is the thing, or is this more broad than that?
So, if your soul is reaped,
Mm-hmm.
you get brought to central processing,
Right.
where they look over the file, and then they, just determine like, okay, this new person needs to go here, or they need to do further investigation to figure it out,
Right.
that kind of thing. That happens with every single person that a Reaper has to specifically escort to the afterlife, to Limbo. That is why things get stamped with the SNR, is because, okay, this person showed up in our offices and weren't brought here. They just kind of showed up here.
Okay.
So we need to make a note of that. So, because essentially, like, okay, this person had, how do we word this? If this person had a very straightforward problem, then they just go through limbo and just kind of find their own way.
Right.
If someone shows up at all in central processing, then their situation is at least moderately complicated.
Right.
And that is when people expect, like, okay, this person needs to be shown the way to go by a Reaper.
Right.
So the fact that they are stamped with this, that's what the weirdness is. It's just kind of an exceptional case.
Right. That's okay. So I was just trying to figure, like, I was trying to look for a particular person to call for the ones that do not have a Reaper associated with them.
Yes. So you do see a few names on some of them.
But I was just sort of thinking, like, if most ones that didn't have a Reaper attached would have shown up at central processing, they're probably someone at the desk I would be able to call. Is what my thought, basically.
Sure. Now, in terms of specifically talking to like your fellow Reapers about this kind of thing, you do some initial like calling some people on this stuff,
Right.
and you get kind of a typical reaction from people of like, yeah, I'll talk to you about that when I get the chance, but I'm kind of busy. However, you do know for a fact that, oh, right, we got invited to this get together in a couple of days.
Yep.
And there's going to be a number of Reapers there that you will have the opportunity to talk to at that time.
Oh, I figured, but I'm going through my process right now.
Gotcha. The one person who, when you called them and says that they do have a chance to talk today, is Odd.
Old?
So
Okay.
ODD.
Old. Okay.
He is basically like would have been like a Valkyrie or something along those lines, Norse mythology kind of roots.
Yep.
And he's kind of adapted with the times because not a lot of people are carried into Valhalla by Valkyries anymore. That's, just kind of a belief system that doesn't get a whole lot of usage. And so he just stayed on as a Reaper in a different form.
Sure.
So he can talk to you at some point today.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. I'll be in the office, or if you want to meet somewhere, just let me know where will be best for you.
He requests that you guys meet at a plaza somewhere.
Excellent. Lunchtime?
Yes.
Excellent. I can grab a sausage on the way. Perfect.
Why?
I don't know. It just occurred to me.
Sausage specifically. I don't
Sausage
know
in a
why
bun. What the hell?
In a bun.
Keeps your hands clean.
So, yeah. So Gideon, you get that information. You kind of are making your calls and stuff. Meanwhile, Dantalion and Reiko, you guys are working together, trying to figure out more stuff in depth. So, you guys are working on this together. So, I'm going to give you guys the option of each making an investigation check, or one of you can take the help action for the other to give advantage.
My investigation is 1.
Mine is 4, so
I think I'm helping you, so
Okay.
I think you do advantage.
sounds good.
All right.
Oh,
I'm
no.
sorry, Eric.
I'm not
Now he
done
continues to
compiling
roll
the
like
information.
ass.
I'm not done compiling the information yet. Please come back later.
All right. Dentalion with a 9, then. You aren't able to get a whole lot, but even with that, something that stands out to you is that you may recall from our first session when the Reaper Sawyer brought you a file. That file was basically fresh. And so when you look into that, you see that the date of death, or at least, estimated date of death, was all of 3 days ago. And that is belonging to a man named Alex Hernandez. And if there is, for example, like a case that, the trail would be fresh, that would be a good place to start. Everyone else is at least a couple of weeks old, and might be more difficult to find clues.
All right. Well, so let's start with Mr. Hernandez then.
All right. Taking a look into his file, you basically kind of just like get the general layout of his life that as it was known by the processing office, and also you kind of get some information that was gathered from the interview with him, the same as the one that Reiko went through with Michael. And a lot of that is just kind of like getting impressions of their life from their own perspective, but part of it has to do with why or how the person died. In Alex's case, he's not really sure. It seems like it was a bit of a shock to him. And even with your 9 roll, I'm going to say that is something that you see in a few different cases. It's not super unusual, though, that people don't know what killed them, because you see a lot of people just show up in the afterlife and they're like, wait a minute, I'm dead. And they don't realize it happened. The only cases where it seems to be an exception are people who, know that they are like slipping away, people who are very late in life, or who are, dealing with a terminal disease, or are very much aware that they're heading into like a life or death situation, that kind of thing. People who expect it aren't surprised when it happens. Everyone else is like, wait, what happened here?
Right.
It's involves a train, and then they're still surprised.
So as you kind of like look through Mr. Hernandez's, sorry?
No, I'm fine. Yeah, go on.
Okay. As you look through Mr. Hernandez's file, you see that he was kind of like just the last thing that he remembers is he was just kind of going on his daily routine. He was going on a walk along the beach. And then he just kind of remembers just showing up in Limbo. And that's really kind of it. It seems like it was very much a thing of like, this just happened. This must have happened incredibly suddenly, and he just has no idea what led to it.
Yeah, not even like a sudden pain that would indicate like some form of like sudden violence, like
no, you don't even get a sense that like he remembers being attacked or anything like that.
he's just like walking and then thud.
Yeah.
Huh.
You do take a look at his file, and just based on the information that is presented there, you see that this was a guy who was in his like mid-20s, generally led a pretty healthy life, and also kind of a fairly humble life. He lived by himself in a small apartment, worked as a server at a club somewhere in Miami, and he just kind of liked, just living by himself.
Wait a minute. This guy has his own place, and he was a waiter in a major city.
Yeah.
That's suspicious in and of itself.
Well, maybe there would be something to find there.
I'm over here going. So this dude is in his like early 20s, and he just died suddenly. Was he a berserk player?
just you investigate this guy, and you go to his house, and there's just stacks of cocaine. Turns out he was working for the mafia.
Yeah,
It's like someone just like got a rifle and took him out real fast.
Fucking Goldo 13 gets him.
Yeah. Why don't you give me the same investigation check too, with advantage as well, because you guys are kind of like both poring over this, because like, oh hey, this guy was dead for 3 days. So
18.
18.
There we go.
All right. As you peer closer into the file, you basically see like, okay, this was a guy who, just kind of like lived on his own, and doesn't seem to talk a lot about like other people in his life. Lived on his own, didn't have like super close friends that he was seemingly worried about. That now that he has died suddenly. He did, however, express worry about his dog Betty, who keeps on coming up multiple times throughout the file. Just like, oh, okay, this guy, the one thing that he seemingly had, the one real attachment seemingly had to the living world was his pet. So that he kept on. He brought up probably like 4 or 5 different times throughout the interview of like if anything could be done about this. He was, of course, given the promise of like, well, kind of like we've got people we can contact in order to set things right there. But then he, of course, vanished, and so that follow up didn't really happen.
So let's go check up on Betty.
All right.
Betty?
The dog.
What dog?
For Hernandez.
What are you talking about?
Yes, an hour before me.
Oh. Yes. So that's not before Reiko here was Mr. Hernandez, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing he really seemed to give too much of a shit about was his dog. And then he went missing. So I'm wondering if he found a crack throat he's hunting his dog.
Possibility.
And if not, well...
You know what we should talk to about
there's
this?
a possibility.
You know, be of help on this. Jerome.
Yeah. Jerome's a good choice.
And maybe even that 10, was it?
10, yeah.
Maybe I should call them. Oh, wait, I don't know their numbers. Front desk.
The Rolodex.
The front desk will know.
Oh, just check the Rolodex. I pull out the Rolodex. I leaf through it.
Sure, you've got that. Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
We're on our...
Okay. It makes sense.
I know. There's a roll. I told. Oh yes, the Rolodex. I didn't add them to it, but
I would like to point out, weren't we on our way over there?
yes, you are. But we don't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know that.
I was saying, like, just about time for them to knock on the door. Be like, "Hey, we were listening the entire time."
It would make sense.
I kind of want to hear what Jerome's answering machine says.
Yes.
Please leave a message. It's the sound of the poltergeist.
I have an idea for Tad's answering machine. It's very dumb.
Go for it.
Oh no, it's mostly a joke, but just the notion of just like, it's like, hello, if you're hearing this, then I'm presently not available. In addition, if you're hearing this, there might be a causality problem because I don't actually own an answering machine, so I'm not particularly sure how you're hearing this. Don't bother leaving a message because there's actually nothing on the other end of this line. Thank you. then just hangs up on them.
That very call center answering machine voice that you put on to.
Oh, that's just me putting the reverb. Yeah, just me like
Thank you.
delivering. Yes. If you're, thank you for reaching this invalid number. We really appreciate your.
Your call will not be returned.
Your call will not be returned, and in fact, authorities are approaching your location right now to confiscate your phone. What?
Oh boy. Yeah, so you guys are in the middle of trying to call up Jerome and or Tan when they conveniently arrive at the door of your office.
And never mind, you're apparently here. Click.
I
Great.
would assume that Jerome and Tan like went to some place to get like, I don't know, some crepes or like some other like desserty breakfast thing on the way over.
Sure.
Jerome has a bagel, but it has like birdseed on it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And a dead rat.
The sesame seeds.
No. Bird seeds plus sesame seeds.
There
It's
you
an
go.
everything bagel.
It's an everything else bagel. Okay.
Oh my god.
I love it.
Nice.
It's gonna be a weird pellet later. Oh.
But yeah, Tan has like one of those like a crepe like waffle with something in it just rolled up that they're just
Ooh, that looks
indulging in.
good.
Excellent. So,
Hey guys, good to see you.
it is a pleasure to see both of you. Yes, indeed. Work-related stuff first. Dantalion has found a possible lead that might be worth investigating that the two of you might be of assistance with if you're available and willing.
Hmm.
Yeah, Mr. Hernandez here. He disappeared 3 days ago. He doesn't know, wasn't even aware he was dead. Doesn't have any recollection of what could have caused it. But the only thing he seemed to give too much of a shit about was his dog Betty. So I'm wondering, because it kept on coming up that he was talking about his dog. I'm wondering if he somehow found a way back to haunt the dog.
Hmm.
Yeah, Jerome's just thinking for a moment. It's like, well, slipping through the crossroads isn't impossible. At the very least, I suppose we can let the dog out.
But who? Who let the dog?
Don't.
You walked right into that, dude. Come on. Are you supposed to give us a setup
I
like
saw
that
it.
we're not supposed to?
I didn't walk into it. I saw it being laid out, and I was like, "This is going to end very poorly."
Right there on a silver platter. How could I not pick it up? It would have been rude to leave it.
I didn't get to put the sign there of like, "Don't take this" in time.
Don't take this bait. And then the bait was taken before anything could be done. I will say that Tan will just shrug and then like tear off another piece of like waffle to indulge in while just nodding a little bit at the proposal.
So I'm gonna say, you guys have gotten onto this this idea involving Betty the dog. I am going to say that as people who work somewhat more outside the system, Jerome and Tan both make just a raw intelligence check. Tan, make this with advantage.
Sweet.
Raw intelligence. All right, at the top.
That'll be an 18 for Tan.
Nice.
Very nice.
Oh, did that not go through?
I
Yeah,
don't know.
reload your character page
Yeah,
because
everyone's first rolls are getting delayed. Yeah.
I think what's happening is that Beyond 20 had a disconnect, and so you just need to refresh the character page on D&D Beyond to reestablish the connection there. Oh no!
Okay.
This bagel's really good.
These pretzels are making me These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Everyone's
What
talking
did
about.
you put on your bagel? Ether?
Ash, you were just getting done talking about your everything else bagel. Now we're talking about dogs, and now you're horrified at the idea that you're being accused of eating dogs on a bagel. You're like, no, not that everything else. Come on, I'm not a monster. Come on. But Tan,
Mm-hmm.
as you had mentioned before, You have not background knowledge of pets that are separated from their owners in the loss of life on one end or another. So you know of a couple of different people that you might be able to talk to that might get back to you with more of an answer faster than going through the official outlets.
Yes. Tan will then just sort of mention offhandedly, well, I do know that there's a few. I do know of a few caretakers and those that work more directly with the animal denizens of Limbo, if that might be useful for such an investigation.
It might be. I don't know. This is not exactly my bailiwick. I mean,
Out of character for bailiwick. Like I heard about like bailiwick.
Bailiwick.
Not my area of expertise.
Yeah.
The definition of bailiwick is not within my bailiwick. So yeah.
But Tan will just sort of nod a few times, just be like, well, if it's necessary, I could take some of the information and run it by some folks I know, or you're more than welcome to come by the commune to ask around yourself to see if there might be some off-the-record information we can leverage.
I mean, I suppose that is possible. I'm more than happy to talk to anybody. Honestly, I would say on average about 75% of the cases I work on end up being mostly solved by me walking around and talking to various people.
Well, the weather is stale as always, so you're more than welcome to peruse.
The weather is rather unchanging, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, I remember. Basically, before I forget, I reach into my trench coat. Reiko, map.
Yes?
I hand you a map.
Ah, right.
Not
How
sure.
do you read this?
Well, that's a good point. Hang on. That building there, I point at the map, is where we are right now. That building there is the apartment complex you are in.
That's a longer walk than I thought it was.
Yes. You will find that is often the case. Sometimes
there's no key on the map for miles, by the way.
Sometimes the distances are shorter than you think they are. That is Limbo.
Is there public transportation in Limbo?
No.
Oh yeah, there is.
There's public
transportation.
It's always late.
You can always catch the ferry.
It always shows up dramatically. Public transportation always shows up at dramatically appropriate times in Limbo. Basically,
interesting. I usually
mostly it just kind of goes by in the background for atmosphere.
I usually walk everywhere unless I have to be somewhere very specific at a specific time. Then I just appear there.
You can do that?
I'm a Reaper.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, right. I want to do that.
Speaking
you have to take the bus.
Yes. Well, I suppose we should go meet up with Ten's contact, and that might be a good idea. I also have a meeting with Audit about how long is it till the meeting? I'm supposed to be meeting Odd.
I'm going to say that you can probably hit one and then the other in a row, basically.
All right. I'm going to say it might be a good idea to go meet Odd on the way, that in case the investigation takes longer there than we thought. I'm expecting the conversation with Odd probably won't take very long.
Nah.
So I have to meet
with you, or should I just stay here and keep compiling this?
You are welcome to come along if you should probably come along.
All right.
I am under instructions to keep an eye on you at the moment, therefore.
Oh, right. Okay.
For the time being, at least. Also, it will help
finish up the current entry and disengage.
Also, will help you learn how to traverse the distances here in Limbo. Would be of use to you to see various different areas.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm setting out to meet. So, my meeting is at the plaza in about an hour or so. So I'm going to walk over there, and I'm going to grab a bite to eat en route. There is a decent hot dog vendor en route, if I remember correctly. I do not know why there's a hot dog vendor there, but there is one.
There's always a hot dog vendor.
It seems that way, doesn't it?
I feel like the question is less why and more why not.
Well, the thing about the hot dog vendor is that they only put ketchup on the hot dogs and no other toppings. So
is that not appropriate?
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That is me, the DM, saying, "What's wrong with that?"
What's wrong with that? What kind of monster are you, man?
Depends on where you're from. Depends on where you're from
entirely. That is the accurate statement. Yes.
Me over here being the Californian who likes the coney.
Sure.
But he's good. Gideon walks up to the hot dog vendor, make me one with everything, and I'm just like, isn't that your job?
Honestly, I'd probably just ask him for the usual at this point, but
Gideon did arrest, like Gideon did arrest the vendor.
I don't arrest people. I'm an investigator. I'm not a cop. There's a difference.
That's what makes it so weird. Anyways, but yes,
you can only arrest people for telling bad puns, as it turns out.
I will say that, like, with that, Tan will lead anyone who cares to follow over to the commune, which Wynn has suggested a good name earlier being the Fulcrum.
Sure.
The Fulcrum. Yeah, sure. All right. So, I just to clarify, because I kind of lost it amongst the equipping and stuff.
Yes.
So you guys are going to meet with Old first.
That was my plan.
Okay.
I think that it makes the most sense. I think the timing of it would work out better. Is my gut feeling.
All right. Yeah, you guys head out. You guys take in the street cuisine that is on offer in Limbo. It is both more than you're expecting, Reiko, and also somehow disappointing. It's just that kind of middle ground that you're kind of gradually getting used to around here. But you guys,
mediocre hot dog and a mediocre coffee for me.
Very much. So, and then you guys proceed to a plaza. There are quote unquote trees that have been planted just to kind of like provide some decoration in what is kind of like an urban park space. And there are benches for people to just hang out around. Some people kind of like imported the spirits, basically like kind of like migrated the spirits of some birds so that they can be fed, and that kind of thing. So it more resembles like a physical world park. But there is that same kind of atmosphere of like dullness about everything, despite the small attempts to kind of spruce it up a bit. And as you head into the plaza, Gideon, you very quickly note that Odd is sitting on one of the benches and is clearly just waiting for you to approach.
All right, I will walk up, sort of nod, and sit down next to him. Odd.
Hello, Gideon. Nice to see you.
It is a pleasure.
We're not expecting you to have company, but we'll meet.
Well, I think you have met Dantalion before.
Yes. To the rest of you, I am Reaper Odd. And as he speaks to you, you guys get a clear view of him. He looks clearly more like some fashionable than Gideon does. No offense, Peter.
No, not hard.
Like, this guy looks almost as if he could be like the star of a one of those kind of like 2000s action films, like Underworld kind of thing. Lots of black leather, a jacket, boots and gloves, all black, and
I'm getting Visual K vibes from this guy.
Maybe, I don't know.
It's Malice Miser. It's Malice Miser.
And the entire thing is capped off not with an actual skull, but a full mask, a full black mask that goes around his head, and then there is a skull faceplate over the front of the mask.
Okay.
Yep.
Neat.
Yeah, and he greets each of you in turn, despite the fact that he's got, this very, it's like, oh, dark and stuff appearance. He, just seems kind of personable enough.
So
Like every aging goth ever. Gotcha.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
It kind of describes all Reapers, honestly.
Honest. So odd. Just a quick question. So the SNR file that you handed off to us. Is there anything? This is long shots. We're sort of investigating the SNR files in general. Is there anything of note that sticks out in your memory about the soul in question? I mean, I know you didn't meet them, but there's stuff because obviously you didn't. Otherwise, they would have been reaped. But anything that sticks out to you, like, about the case in any way, shape, or form that strikes you as odd or memorable or anything like that?
Okay, I have the information and I have this, so I'm going to say, make a persuasion check for me.
Absolutely.
And also anyone here can make an insight check.
All right.
So you say.
Persuasion 14. And if you want me to make an insight roll, I can.
19 insight.
Anyone who wants to can do so.
Ash, give me my roll back.
I will say, Nick, I'm just going to rely on my passive insight on this one, which is a 13.
Okay.
I'm in the process of talking to him.
Let me throw insight as well at this for the hell of it. Where's my sheet here? I had a message come in from a student in the middle of this. I'm like,
Cool,
oh no,
cool.
gotta burn that bridge before we. That's a 6.
Don't bother me while I'm playing D&D. All right. So, anyone who rolled above a 10, or in Gideon's case, just got above a 10, you can tell that something is kind of bothering Old about talking about this. There just seems to be kind of a small hint of discomfort about it. Jerome, you read it as a degree of embarrassment and shame that he doesn't really want people to let on to. He wants everyone to think that he's just kind of cool and everything's fine. But you can tell that this does bother him a little bit, this topic. Nonetheless, Gideon, with your 14, you guys are friends. He'll talk to you about this.
Yes. Also, since I do notice that there's something bothering about it, if he wants to talk about it just the two of us, I can arrange that.
He does kind of make a small motion to you for you specifically to kind of come closer to him.
Yeah,
So that
I
you
will.
can
I will
talk
sort of say a moment, all, and I will lean in a bit closer, and sort of. I will try to sort of shoot Dan a look of maybe step a bit back, guys.
Yeah.
Reiko goes over there and looks at things.
Make a perception check.
Sure.
All right.
Man, what are all these 8s?
Reiko, the grass is artificial too. It's very convincing though. This ain't just AstroTurf. Someone must have handcrafted every single blade of this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Someone has a lot of time on their hands.
Yes,
I suppose that makes sense though.
That's a matter of fact. That's about the only thing. One of the only things they have in abundance.
All right. You get closer, Gideon, and Old says to you, in a hushed tone. I don't think that you are going to find out anything by talking to me or the others.
Mm-hmm. And that's because?
My name was on that file because it was one that I was supposed to go get.
Yes.
It was not supposed to happen that day that they arrived.
Really?
No.
Ah. So they arrived early is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Huh. So the date you were given was later.
Yep.
Interesting.
Only by a few weeks, I would say.
That's still
But
interesting. Also out of protocol, but you know.
this is something that, you know, don't want all of the
Yes.
people outside of the, you know, it is need to know information that not everything goes according to plan all the time.
Frustratingly so, but yes.
I say that everyone, and also it gets into the realm of, you know, people have their fated time that they're supposed to go,
Mm-hmm.
and for some reason did not match up with the plan.
Interesting. Okay.
That is all I can tell you, my friend.
That is actually a very interesting point that I think might lead to... interesting. May have to cross-reference that with other people. Yeah, well, thank you. That's actually food for thought.
Speaking of food, you're going to Teres and Giorgio's thing at the end of the week.
I suspect I am, yes.
Do you know if that is like a potluck or if the food will be there? Should we plan on eat? It's supposed to be a dinner, right?
I think so.
There's going to be food.
Hang on a second. Dan,
Yo.
that thing, the dinner thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
yeah.
do you remember if that's potluck or what?
Yeah, man. Nobody ever complains if you bring your own food.
But do you know if it's supposed to be?
I don't know.
You're the one they.
Nick,
You're
do
the
I
one
know?
they told. You're the one they gave the invitation to directly.
Wasn't there like a paperwork? Would Draco have seen it?
I was actually going to ask Nick if I knew.
The information that was given to you was entirely oral from
Right.
Sawyer.
Yep.
There's not like there wasn't a lot of information given. So you don't know because no one really said so. And also, like, this whole thing of like social gatherings and stuff is a bit of a new thing for all of the Reapers. So this kind of level of confusion is pretty common, even among like the less stickler people. Like, for example, like Sawyer is a very social for a Reaper, and even they were kind of like, I don't know. So no one seems to know. But all, you know, as you guys are going back and forth about this, he kind of throws his hands up and says, "I'll bring Eva Skiva. It's fine. It doesn't matter if it doesn't match up with the general cuisine. I'll eat it. You know."
Yeah. Fair.
So,
Good plan.
all right. Well, I wish you luck then.
Indeed.
Is there I don't know. I can't think of anything else to tell you, honestly.
Well, as I said, that was an interesting piece of information that might be of use. So thank you.
You're welcome. I hope that you're able to find what you need.
Indeed. Well, we have to go go to talk to someone about a dog now.
What?
Another lead we're following up on.
Oh, okay.
Quite literally talking to someone about a dog.
Did a dog's fire show up in one of the souls not reaped?
No, a dog's owner did.
The guy we're looking for.
Oh.
All he cared about was his dog. So we're wondering if he like somehow got out and started haunting it.
I suppose it's possible. Okay.
Quite many things are. Anyways, thank you again, Odd.
You're welcome. All right. Nice meeting you all.
Have as good a day as you can have.
See it, Sawyer's thing, man.
Yeah.
Is it just like, did we start reaping dogs?
That is kind of what the reaction was. Yeah, it's like that doesn't seem to happen very often.
Dogs usually tend to go where they know where they're supposed to go. Like
all dogs go to heaven. This has been established.
Well, okay, I'm sorry.
Any type of chihuahua automatically goes to someplace very bad. Not because they're being punished, because they're used to punish other people.
Wow.
wow. Anyways, I will finish the coffee I'm drinking, and I guess we'll head out to the fulcrum.
Yep, you guys have lunch out here. If there's anything you guys want to talk about before you actually head on to official business, just go ahead. It just occurred to me just now that this would be a good kind of break point to do that.
Absolutely.
Oh, everyone's like surprised by the dog idea. It seems like a pretty logical conclusion to me.
No, I would agree with you. I actually agree with you, Dan.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Dan, I gestured to come closer.
Okay.
Keep this a little bit on the down low. Okay. Apparently, according to Odd, the date that he was supposed to reap the person in the file didn't match up with the date they arrived here.
Okay, this is getting weird because Hernandez just sort of fell over is the thing. Like,
yeah,
according to his file, like there was no kind of like attack or health problem or anything.
Right.
Like he didn't even like perceive something happening. He just was there all of a sudden.
I'm wondering if something is causing people to perish before their scheduled time, or if someone misinformed Odd or the other Reapers. Neither of which is good.
Yeah.
Are they still like leaning in, talking quietly about that last bit?
That's what I was intending to do.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That will be something I will probably bring up at some point, but if it becomes obviously actually important, I will definitely let you guys know. But like for the short term,
it is considered need to know information. So.
Yes.
Yeah,
according to Odd, it's need to know. So Dan is a provisional Reaper, therefore I feel he can be read in.
Yeah, like right now, like the only like ideas that Jerome really has is if they can find Hernandez's body, he can check it over for magical involvement.
Sure,
see if
absolutely.
Weird happens to the body that is beyond the normal ken of things.
Hopefully his body's in the morgue.
Also getting the nice dog out.
Anywho, yes, we should probably head over to the.
Right.
Is there anything else people want to discuss while we're here?
So, like, is the weather always just kind of gray in like Limbo?
Like that's kind of like what there's going to be like a lot of like inane questions from Reiko about like the weather and like other things and etc. Like now that she's like seeing them and going like, is it like this all the time?
No. Sometimes it's more of a charcoal. Sometimes it's more like a TV static.
Occasionally,
Have you ever been in
there's a
Ohio?
very
rain.
Occasional faint drizzle.
Jerome's like, have you ever been in Ohio? It's a lot like that.
Sometimes there's dirty gray.
I'm in the morning every day.
Sometimes there is. Right, she's Japanese.
Delayed response.
Sometimes there is sort of like that sort of gray snow you get after it's been salted and shoveled. The snow doesn't fall; it's just there.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean, what else is going to get your boots dirty? That's why I don't have them. Or feet, really.
Huh. You know, I hadn't even bothered noticing that.
Does your trench coat just like go all the way down?
I just sort of glide everywhere on like this column of shadow.
Gotcha. All right.
I do imagine that, like, when there is snow in like the Limbo, it's like it gets pushed out, and there's still like the black snow from like cars, even though there aren't a lot of cars.
Right. No, there aren't any cars. Cars are there's public transportation, but there aren't cars. Don't be silly.
Yeah, it's like, why is it like where's all this black soot come from?
Oh no, they're definitely like nondescript 1940s cars that you can't see who's driving them, but you never know anyone who's ever driven one.
Right. Also, you mentioned your lack of feet. Just I have totally envisioning Gideon's shoes always being perpetually in need of a polish.
Yeah, constantly having that like scuff on them.
Yes.
That indicates that you do regularly polish them, but you haven't in a while.
Yes. Also, my clothes are wrinkled in that way that, yes, I clearly ironed them at some point.
I just haven't had a chance to in a little while.
Gideon is perpetually rumpled.
Yeah. He's got that look of someone who's actually pretty fastidious, but was forced to sleep in their clothes for a night.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Every night.
That's every night. Yeah, that's the point. It's perpetual.
Yeah. I do love the flavor details we make as we go along.
All right.
Anyways, yes.
You guys head over to the commune, which is Skitch called. Sorry again.
The fulcrum is the term that. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. I'm gonna just add that into my file real quick.
So I just want to briefly say that Anne brought in some French toast while we were talking.
Nice.
And it's fucking delicious.
I love French toast.
Yeah.
There's probably that makes me. I was joking about the idea that like there was like a cafe like in the first floor area and like.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. That would have made some French toast. Damn it! All right.
No one knows how baking works in Limbo because stuff again doesn't grow here. So how do you get the bacteria for everything for baking and stuff? But somehow it works. So.
I have an explanation for that.
You do?
Where does bacteria go when it dies?
I really like the idea that baking doesn't work in the underworld, so because there's no chemical reactions.
You
just sort of have the thing. You put the ingredients in the thing. You open it up. It comes out the way you wanted it to, just through like.
It's like a replicator.
Yeah.
See that this just reminds me of that one Shardpoint episode where I came up with an oven that just magically conjures desserts that you want because it was the oven of just desserts.
Nice. That's good. That's good.
So
that's terrible. You're fired.
My thought on this is that like the reason why like things like bread and bakery goods exist here is because it's the underworld and everything is already arisen here.
Oh my god! All right, all right. I'm not giving you anything for that one, just because I gave you advantage once. No. All right.
Probably.
But anyways, I'll say like this.
You guys head to the fulcrum.
Yes.
The main point I was going to say is that there are aesthetically pleasing aromas as you approach, because a cafe always has something that smells nostalgic. The difference is that it's nostalgic for different people for different reasons. So
Holy
that's
crap.
the
marijuana and cocaine.
Exactly. You know
what is nostalgia?
Oh,
God, that's
horrible.
That made me
feel a little bit existential there. All right. 10. Okay, you lead the party into the fulcrum, and in the courtyard, you spy Rachis. That's Rachis. Who is an artist in the term of being a hairdresser / groomer. Basically, if it's got hair, she will make it fancy and stuff. So
She's a beautician.
I thought you were going to say if it has hair, she'll mangle with it.
Pretty much. But as a result of that, she is, partially like a pet groomer. And, which, there are all these different pets that are kind of around the compound that she will occasionally, like practice with and stuff. So she would have some sense of pet news because of that. She's kind of closely tapped into where these pets come from and everything.
Well, I guess the question is whether she is up for some small talk or whether somebody should be being worked on by her, while we engage in small talk, standard like.
Boy. All right.
Am I the only one with hair?
I certainly
No.
don't have any.
I would say like how is she with feathers?
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, so you guys approach. She happens to see you coming and says, "Tan, darling, you gotta let me give you that undercut now."
There's a small pause. Tan looks at the others, looks back, and says, "That sounds lovely right now that you mention it."
All right, there is a chair.
Tan just sort of, and the thing was, this is like out in the middle of like what is basically like a courtyard with like various other things going on. It's like not even set up in an establishment, so like, and then anything that's just, and then any hair or furs left behind just kind of gets blown away like dry leaves, just somewhere.
Yeah, occasionally dogs come over to chew on it or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yes. But so Tan like just sort of takes a moment, then just has a seat. Could Tan just change his hair arbitrarily at any time? Yes, but
that's not the point. That's not the point.
That's not the point.
Or maybe it is the point. Maybe she's aware of that and knows you're the perfect practice dummy. Who knows?
Yeah, but as he does so, Tan does gesture to the others and introduces them accordingly.
Oh, you on business here? What's going on? She tries the apron around you, starts getting her tools ready and stuff.
You could say that we as much as I'm here to be a patron of your services, we are also on the lookout for procuring information at the same time.
Information? What are you coming to me for information for? I know that I'm a great conversation partner, but usually it's like you guys who give me the sweet deeds,
Well, the detail swapping is certainly something where eventually you might have a hot tip that would lead to an interesting conclusion. I'm sure that my friends could fill you in on what we are looking for.
Indeed.
I can roll persuasion to start this up.
Go right ahead. Yes. I think that's just going to be a nice opening thing.
All right.
I'm going to say that while they're all doing that business,
Ooh, nice. 17.
Reiko is just going to find a cat and just start playing with it.
Make a charisma check. Animal handling. Sorry, animal handling check. That's a skill that people have.
Animal handling is a way better score of mine than just charisma. So, hey.
Oh yeah, you get a cat. You get a cool black cat that makes you look a little bit spookier. But as it curls up on you, it's just going. I can't do it right now because I just took a drink.
Right.
But, it's headbutting you and stuff. So
yep.
More importantly, it's shedding exactly the right color fur to show up on whatever you're wearing.
Yeah.
If it's Reiko was wearing light colors at the time that she died, so it's just kind of still what she's wearing. Actually, she's gonna want to hit up a fashion place after this.
There are places in the Fulcrum for that.
Oh, I imagine. That's why I say.
Yes.
At some point in the course of the conversation, it comes up that Reiko is new, and somehow word of this spreads from Rashi's, even though she's there talking with you guys and doing Tan's
it is a commune, so yeah.
No, somehow they heard about it from her, even though she hasn't moved from talking with you guys.
Right? No, it's a commune. Yes. That sort of thing spreads telepathically.
Exactly. So occasionally, while this is happening, you guys explain the situation to her. A little bit of you don't share the entire situation. I'm going to assume because you don't need to say, oh yeah, there's this huge case of all this stuff.
No,
like,
we are
okay.
looking into somebody who should have arrived and didn't.
So while you're going over, the important details and stuff, you guys, are hanging around. Occasionally, some people are coming up to each of you who is not sitting down, and are just kind of like, "Hey, you want to try on this scarf?" Or there are a few music players who kind of come over to you and are just like, "Ooh, an audience," and they're just kind of performing for you. Some weird tinkerers, more along the lines of like Arbor, come over with more intricate things that really, honestly, don't normally get shared in this kind of condition. Like, look at this statue I made. It's not the most like easily transportable social art thing, but somehow they're still doing it. And in particular, Reiko is getting a fair amount of attention because you're new in town, and so you're right before like, oh, try this, that kind of thing.
She's going to have the cat across her chest, the entirety of the cat, that is, and just kind of look at anyone who's trying to offer her a shirt or a dress, and is going to just kind of like, I'm going to have to challenge you. I'm afraid.
Fair.
Italian's like chatting with anyone who walks up and is like trying out all the stuff, and like he's being very personable and a bit of a social butterfly at the moment, despite being a terrifying shadow monster.
Cool.
Jerome is doing his best to not let his owl instincts kick in around all of these cats. Because the last thing he wants to do in front of this, these people that adore these animals, is to eat one of them.
Fair.
Make a wisdom saving throw DC of 8.
Let me find wisdom. Here we go.
Yeah.
Take it through.
Not yet.
No.
Oh,
Nope.
oh, I know what's happening. I keep clicking on the lower number, not the top number. The
Okay.
bottom number.
There you go. 15. You're fine.
Yeah, you're freaked out a little bit, but you are fine. You are you constrain yourself to not.
All right, Nick.
Yes.
Gideon is primarily paying attention to the conversation the between the group. I can't remember her name all of a sudden. Shoot.
Rashis
and Tan. But he's also making sure to appreciate the musicians and the various craft work that people show to him from time to time. So he's started dividing his attention, especially the musicians. He seems to pay more attention to them than anybody else. Also, at some point, there's a scarf wrapped around his neck, and he has no idea how it happened. Wait, what?
All right. So yeah, Jerome, you're trying not to freak out all of the domesticated animals. Reiko, you're kind of fending off people trying to dress you against your will.
I don't mind. I don't mind getting dressed. I do mind if they're trying to give me things that are ill-fitting.
Oh no, for you, this is sometimes a problem. Everything that they bring to you already perfectly fits. These guys are pros, so
This is the best day of my life. 2 days afterwards.
I would like to think that each time we cut back to Tan, their hair is in an inexplicably different style, hair color. It just keeps going.
The in-between stages for having an undercut don't make any sense for what is being done here. There are braids that are getting put in and then disappearing.
I'm just imagining Tan's basically just like in like a care gen chair right now.
Yeah, Tan is actually examining his face in a bathroom mirror while this is going on.
Mm-hmm. The important thing is the hair dryer, the hair blower that's using to dry out their hair that's not even wet, that's not plugged into anything.
Right.
It's actually a hand crank hair dryer. Don't ask how it works.
God. So energy efficient.
Like it's listen, it just be like that, But anyways, Tan is at least just allowing the others sort of like I wouldn't say lavish, but just sort of like be exposed to the community that Tan is part of.
Yes.
I've worked in hospitality off and on for about 7 years. Do you know how many stories of I brought my own hairdryer and plugged it in and caused a power surge I've heard over that time?
Yeah.
Have one that's hand cranked. Jesus Christ!
It's so efficient. We don't have to deal with like air resistance or otherwise. Don't.
I mean, fair.
Okay, no. I have a solution. Inside the hair dryer is a mouse wheel or is a hamster wheel that's just getting cranked constantly.
All right. So,
anywho,
through various distractions, this conversation goes on. You share the necessary details with Rashiz, and occasionally she'll pause what she's doing, think for a moment, ask a clarifying question, go back to what she's doing, and I'm not even going to make an insight check. I will let you know that she has a response to give you roughly halfway through the haircut, but she specifically doesn't say anything until she's done. So, because that's your payment essentially.
Totally fair.
I will say that Tan would. I believe both Tan and Gideon pick up on this. Tan to sort of like.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In the midst of like all of these offers, Reiko is going to flag Dantalion over.
Yeah, I'll slide on over.
So,
yeah, you had holding up, kid.
Is there actually any like currency here, or do they just give you things? I don't want to commit to something that I don't know what I'm doing.
The answer to this is that there is there's not really currency because there is no official bank down here. There are banks in hell, but not here.
Well, of course, it's a capitalist institution. Of course, it'll be in hell.
Right. So everything kind of works on a bartering system here.
Mm.
Yeah, if you take anything, just you'll have to, do a favor back. Good manners.
Okay. I
will say
I don't know how many things I'll be able to fulfill while I'm under office arrest.
There's someone who is currently like draping like the most freaking like Adam's Family black shawls and stuff around you. He's like, "Oh, honey, we're just gonna hook you up. You can come by anytime." Like, this is just consider this like a welcome home gift.
Aww.
Also, we don't get like a whole lot of your type around here, so you're kind of a unique model for me. So this is kind of good for me too. But yeah, first one's free.
Best friends.
Oh, that sounds fun. I better come up with a name for this character then. But get back to me on that. Give me a little while to think about that, and if you're serious, we'll do it. But anyway, I'm going to leave this before I'm pressed for more information. So when Tan's haircut is finished up, and you have your kind of regular appearance, but with an undercut. So it is, if we're talking character generation terms, it's that thing where it's like there was a sort of default that was in mind. So any major singular deviation from it looks kind of awkward, but otherwise it looks fine. It's just that normally when you change appearance, you change your whole appearance. So it seems a little bit weird, Skitch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good work. You're expecting it to be good work. So, and then as she sweeps the apron off of you, holds up a mirror for you to check it out from different angles and stuff. Somehow, when she holds the mirror up, you can also see the back of your head, even though there's not a mirror behind you.
Mm-hmm. Of course, yeah.
She's a professional. That's all I'll say.
That's right.
And then as she's doing this and letting you examine the work, uh, she says, "Well, let's see. Yeah, Betty, I do remember hearing about a sweet little thing that had a bit of trouble. I'm gonna need to make a call and see if I'm right about this. Let's see. But you guys were thinking about trying to find this kid, this poor boy, and see what happened to him.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, I'll bet that Betty's probably worried sick about her human, and so I'll do what I can to make sure that that she's able to find him too.
Excellent. Any assistance
Good.
would be of help, and be greatly
So you
appreciated.
guys just sit tight. I'm going to go make a call, and
Very
I'll be
well,
right
ma'am.
back. You guys now are left completely at the mercy of the people who are trying to like dress you, play for you, all this kind of stuff for a few minutes.
Reiko is having just like a grand old time. She's just in for this. She's just going along with all of it, even if like she doesn't end up sticking with it. She's going along with all of it.
It does get weird a couple of times because someone asks like, "Do you want to watch me paint?" and just like sets up an easel in front of you.
Sure, why not? My attention's divided already.
And shortly after that, Rashiz comes out and she says, Well, this is a little bit, it's a bit of a bummer. Tan, honey,
Mm-hmm.
Betty's at the farm. And those of you who are from here know that the farm is basically where the pets go. Some of the pets have shown up here in Limbo because they're in exceptional cases where they've been separated from their owners for one reason or another. But in the afterlife, basically all other pets wind up at the farm. Where they have nice open fields to run around in.
Yeah.
There's a nice fence
Yeah.
with a loving family to take care of them. And it actually occupies a unique space in the afterlife because generally Limbo is kind of like the place that then goes off into other forms of the afterlife, and it's kind of hard once you enter like heaven or hell or Valhalla or the summer place, all these different places. Once you go there, it is actually harder to get out than it is to go, from Limbo to anywhere else. So it's kind of hard to get once you're settled in one region to go to another one. But the farm is an exception to that because people who go to a place where they are supposed to be eternally rewarded and stuff, they get to see their pets because I am the designer of this world and I'm not a monster. So this means that not only is Alex, Mr. Hernandez, dead seemingly, but so is his dog. But you know where the dog is, at least.
Yes, that.
Yeah.
And if it's there should be records.
Okay.
Excellent. Well, I will thank Rashish most profusely.
Oh, you're welcome anytime, honey. If you want to come by and try out some styles for you, you're more than welcome to.
I appreciate the sentiment, but my appearance tends to be a bit morphological, so.
Oh, honey, honey, you act like that's going to stop me.
That's not. Oh, never mind. Whose scarf is this?
Jerome was like,
I believe-
"Get me out of here."
I believe that scarf is yours, Gideon.
Do people not understand what morphological appearances are? It won't stay
sure
is
it
the
was-
problem, is my point.
Well, I'm sure it can make a nice decoration in the office.
Yeah, it just sort of take sort of shadowy hands from off the like a peer pull it off you and like bring it over to Dentalian who puts it on who puts it on.
Oh, good.
Not long before it's absorbed by the general shadow aura.
Right.
But it is still there, basically.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the issue is that it would just sort of eventually fade away from Gideon.
Yeah.
Gideon's appearance doesn't change unless it has to for thematic reasons.
All right.
Reiko just kind of like reluctantly staggers away from like everyone who's just like trying to make her look fabulous, and kind of ends up just kind of like actually like wearing like a surprisingly like casual sweater and skirt setup.
Yeah, you're probably quite surprised by the experience because you were expecting like, oh, you know, someone's gonna put me all these weird artistic types are gonna try and put me in a fancy dress or whatever. But they're once they kind of like get onto the vibe that you want, surprisingly accommodating, and seemingly do not see any form of fashion as beneath them. So yes, one is very happy to just be like, oh, here you go, and gives you this handmade, very comfy attire. So
Yeah, like she's absolutely in for, you know, doing like the Morticia thing or getting in on, you know, super goth mom kind of deals or whatever. And she's definitely going to be back for that later. But for moving around and whatnot, you know, she's not unfamiliar with fashionable practicality.
yeah,
Mhm.
your new designer friend says like, I totally get what you mean, because you know I like to dress up too, but it's really hard to operate a sewing machine if you've got, you know, like wings going out in every direction. It kind of pushes everything out of the way. Practicality, especially when you're doing this for years and years, practicality does kind of become the thing that sticks and outlives any trend.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
But I will absolutely put you in a, you know, black wedding dress or whatever you want, if you want to come by sometime.
I will definitely be coming back.
Nice. All right. Good luck at wherever you're going. I don't know.
Yep.
I have to go and remember what my name is.
Marissa.
Sure. We do that. Well, that'll at least be a standard for now. I might think of a more fitting one later, but yeah.
But Train will head over we'll walk over towards Reiko and just observe and comment. Are you planning on keeping that one? As they gesture at the cat that she's holding, probably still somehow.
Oh, the cat is still absolutely lounging on her chest. It has no reason to move.
But it was able to stay there despite the clothes changing without having to move position. It's sort of
Have you seen a cat's dexterity score?
Marissa, and also, again, everyone who lives here is a professional.
They're professional.
Yes.
It's a professional cat, yes.
Yes. This cat knows what it's doing.
I will not stop you from having a cat now if you want to have a cat.
Oh, she has a cat.
All right. So, what do you guys want to do now?
All right. So Gideon's next step would be to immediately try to look up files about Betty, since she is clearly in the system now.
All right.
Now, people
you-
can dissuade me from doing this. That Gideon is very linear until people bump him out of the groove.
No, that sounds like it makes sense to me.
It's not like we know where Alex like lived.
Right.
So like we need to know where Alex lived to get any kind of information about.
Right. I'm assuming it made sense, but I'm just letting you know, like, if you guys have a better idea, don't feel free to knock Gideon out of his groove, because Gideon will stick in a groove until he's pushed out, basically. He's fine with being pushed out. It's just,
And that's the great thing about Gideon as far as Centennial goes. You can just sort of like wind him up and he goes, and he just follows in his wake.
I think part of
Rico's kind of picking up this vibe and is like in for the ride.
about half of Dentelling's job is probably to actually redirect Gideon from time to time.
Yeah, it's just
Probably.
like
just kind of like show him
3 degrees left.
show him that the shortest path between 2 points isn't necessarily a straight line.
Right, no, exactly. It's like, no, it's like, what? Oh. Well, like the file thing, like you mentioned, it's like, oh, a different path. Very well. Aha.
All right, so that's Gideon's current idea.
Yes.
Is anyone else trying anything or trying to redirect the direction you guys are going?
So, in the interest of not wanting to senselessly split the party,
Okay.
I don't know if it's worthwhile for Reiko to continue to go in that direction. If it were down to that, because I imagine there is something to still be found in the file system, and getting that up and running would almost certainly contribute in a different direction. But I don't want to split things senselessly.
Well, I'm probably going back
gotcha.
to the office to call people is the thing. So.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to do that, we can take care of a little bit of housekeeping stuff that I've got on the side anyway for you guys.
Sure.
I'm in for that. I don't even know what Reiko's place looks like yet.
Right. So you guys all convene once again at the office,
Right.
basically. Gideon, you go about making calls to your contacts at the central office to see if you can find Betty's file.
Yep.
Which is going to be a little bit weird because you say over the phone like, oh, yeah, I need the file for Betty, and then someone's like,
Which one?
Betty, and you have to say Betty, the dog.
The dog. I will listen. I will grab the SNR file, and apparently this type of dog previously owned by Alex Hernandez.
All right, we'll pick up with that in a minute.
Yes.
Reiko, you continue going about, like, you're here, you got a bit of time, so you start continuing to organize the files, which is still kind of your current task. You mentioned before entering them in a spreadsheet. You're still waiting for people to get back to you on a spreadsheet program because none exists in Limbo currently. That idea has been routed to someone, and probably took a little bit of convincing people that it was necessary before they started working on it. But there are, honestly, more than likely, at the Fulcrum, there was probably someone who got a call in order to design something like that. At the very least, someone got in touch. Maybe it wasn't like inevitably handed off to them, but someone at least got a call to whip something like that up.
Right.
My point is, you can't digitize the files yet. So if you're trying to keep track of them in a spreadsheet, you're going to basically be just kind of compiling notes in a big sheet by hand, which is not nearly as efficient, obviously. But
it's not. But at the very least, having all of the crucial information in a way where I can use Control F.
Yes, absolutely.
That's faster than sheafing through papers.
Right. So you do also start summarizing stuff. You're not there yet because of the limitations of what you're working with. Speaking of Reiko, Jerome, you get an update while you guys are hanging out in the office. Word got around that you were hanging around with this group.
It's not Saturday. Oh wait, yes it is.
Word got around that you were hanging around with this group because gossip spreads from the commune a lot. And so you get an update on the stuff that you were trying to look into and asking about. It seems that that investigation as to Reiko's situation is still underway. It's only been a few hours since your initial update. You've got some more information about, like people being alerted as to the situation. So far, it seems to only be her family, however. Like a few, her parents have been alerted, and she's got a sibling who's been alerted as well. You get this kind of standard, like people are worried about, their daughter/sister having gone missing and potentially being dead. Nothing really surprising on that front. As to the investigation, it's only been a few hours since you've got your first update this morning. There hasn't been a body found yet. A little bit later, this is honestly only takes a few minutes. Gideon.
Yes.
You were told over the phone that there is a file for Betty, but it's not in Central.
Okay.
It is at the farm.
So they keep those files at the farm. Very well.
Yes.
All right. In that case,
Like, just go to the farm and talk to the source, the primary source.
yeah, that sounds like the actual plan. I mean, I could call. I think I will call to let them know we're coming. That seems at least the polite thing to do. That's the polite thing to do, correct?
Sure.
Good.
All right. You call them and let them know?
Yep.
All right. And I assume then that you'll just head over there after you've given the alert?
Yes,
Yep.
that's my plan at least. Unless someone wants to do something else, that's what I'd like. That's what the Gideon's plan is. People are welcome to come along if they choose.
That seems to be the flow of things.
Okay.
There's furious typing over from the corner.
We're going to I'm going to the farm. Anyone who wishes to come along may do so.
Yeah, you look at the file. I'll talk to the dog.
That sounds like an excellent plan. Yes, I'm not very conversant with canines.
Reiko looks at the cat that she still has, and doesn't think it's a wise idea to go looking around to have a time with a dog with the new addition to her life, or to her afterlife, rather.
You can leave the cat behind in the office. It'll be fine. So, if you want to do that, I will also tell you, however, that if you take it with you, it probably won't be a problem, and you'll see why.
All right.
All right. Okay. So you guys head to the farm. It's as with any journey in Limbo, it's an odd one in terms of the way that space works. In one moment, you're walking down this kind of shady street, lots of brick and mortar buildings around you, this very almost eerie quiet and dullness around everything. And then both somehow very suddenly and so gradually you don't notice it, you're instead walking down a well-trodden rural path that's just marked by dirt with tall grass on either side of it. And shortly after you come to the grass, this long wooden fence on the right side of the path comes into view. And then more fencing over on the left side as well. And once that happens and you're surrounded on fencing by both sides, you hear the sounds of happy animals.
Mm-hmm.
There is barking, yowling, chirping, weird grunting and snorting and growling, as any type of animal that you can imagine having been kept by anyone that loved it enough that they hoped that they would get to see it in the afterlife is here.
Right.
There are tons and tons and tons of dogs and cats, but there are also mice, gerbils. There is in this tank of water that kind of sinks into the ground and also is floating above you, a tank full of all kinds of marine life, mostly goldfish, but other fish there too.
Right.
There are like alligators sitting in a lake, a bunch of snakes that are laying out in the sun, a fair few pigs that are having a great old time in a mud puddle. Just nothing is off limits, essentially.
Right.
Except you don't see some of the more like really exotic animals, like the kind that you would basically only see in a zoo. You see some, but you don't see.
At least one giraffe.
Oh yeah, there's a giraffe, but like, what's a good?
A white.
I'm not
tiger.
sure what. I'm not sure how to indicate that there is something excluded, but like, yeah, there are even tigers and stuff. But
Are there hippos?
no,
Good.
because they were not
hippos.
Because if people thought that they were their friends, they really weren't.
No. The only people I know the only person I'm aware of who tried to have hippos as pets was it was one of these South American crime lords. I forget who it was. And now there are hippos in the Amazon.
God.
So I'm just gonna say this now, like Jerome stays the fuck away from like most of what's going on. Like he's at the entrance, actively avoiding all contact with these animals because he knows this is like a problem he has, and he doesn't want to just like cause a scene. Like he is like, no, I am not going there with the cats and the gerbils and the mice and all the things that I am designed to eat.
I'm going to ask everyone to make a charisma saving throw.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me ahead of time, as you're making these, if your character wants attention from these animals or wants to avoid the attention of these animals.
All right. Tan wants attention from these animals.
Gotcha.
22.
Nice. Jerome, if you are... If you're trying to avoid them, you can make this with advantage because you specifically are taking precaution to not get to stay
roll that again then. All right, that's much better.
Reiko's kind of like over here in the situation of I have a new friend. I don't really need another right now. So Reiko will be keeping away.
All right, Nick.
Okay.
My sort of general sort of expectation with Gideon is he very likely doesn't care one way or another. However, while he is waiting to talk to somebody about the file and such, he's very likely interacting with the horses.
Oh, okay.
All right. Did that roll?
The Italian's not looking to get attract a lot of attention. He's just beelining for
11
Betty.
for me, by the way.
Okay. And okay. All right. Italian, you okay? Gideon, make an animal handling roll for me.
Oh dear Lord!
Yeah.
And he is kicked in the head.
21.
Holy shit!
Not 20.
All right.
Remind you, are somehow
Gideon hangs around with the original Mr. Ed who can actually talk.
You have to remember, Gideon is a reaper. Pale horses are his thing.
I'm going to go down this list here in order of how we did this. Tan, you head into the farm first, and immediately you are the most popular person there. There are dogs that are circling around you, cheerfully barking. There are cats that are nuzzling up against your legs. The just appropriately comfortable number of birds descend and land on your shoulders. Like, it's just enough that, like, you know, any more would be scary. But it's enough. But it's just kind of cute. Jerome.
I will say, as an adder, there is that Tan pulls out something from inside like his jacket pocket, and it's like a pouch that he's gotten from one of the people back at the fulcrum. And each time it reaches in, there's a different type of treat for a different type of animal.
Nice.
Yeah.
So they're just distracting the animals with their presence there.
Jerome, with your 16 charisma save, you are able to kind of broadcast that sense of I want to be left alone. And you get the sense that because it would be a terrible problem if the animals didn't get along here, then it would immediately descend into chaos because of the sheer overwhelming number of them. And so they're able to pick that vibe off of you and know to give you your space and give you enough space to be comfortable. Reiko, you get like a couple of dogs and stuff that come up to you. Want pets, are kind of like just distracting you basically. Gideon, you are impeded somewhat as you make your way through. You have to be careful not to trip over some dogs, right. And also despite the fact that there are some nice things here, somehow there is poop, and right. That's not a great thing, and you fall victim to that occasionally. Yes.
So yeah,
but when you approach the stables, every single horse that you approach gives you a respectful look and a slight bow as you pass by. Any white horses that are in the stable come to you as if
right,
as if they're auditioning, oh, you should ride me. They're kind of offering you, come ride me, come on.
I will give them sort of absent-minded sort of strokes of the muzzle, but that's about all I can do at the moment.
And Dan, you make your way through. You somehow kind of perfectly step through the crowds of animals and stuff. And there's just a small entourage that is following after you at a respectful distance. They're like, oh, we're going on a walk, but they're not bothering you and getting in your way. Good. The place to go to in order to find specifically the file for Betty is in the office where Farmer McDonald, who runs the farm, has just this kind of small office that can in no way, shape, or form possibly have room for the files for all of these pets, but it does. And there's just a single filing cabinet that is in this office. And when you guys approach, he's actually outside of the office. He's hand feeding a calf from a bottle of milk. And he says, "Oh, how y'all doing there?"
Quite well, sir. I'm Reaper Gideon. This is my partner Dentalian, and
oh well,
I called just a bit ago.
Oh, all right. Well, if y'all are looking to adopt, I'm afraid we don't really do that.
I'm
unless
aware.
You're. Oh, okay. Good. Are you here?
I'm here looking for a file on one of your guests.
Oh, all right. Oh, so you're not here for the young missy there? She's not here for any of her. Because that's normally what I do. Is people come here and I make sure that we find the right.
I believe Miss Reiko there has already been adopted by a feline.
Oh well, look at that.
But at any rate, no, we're here to retrieve the files on a canine named Betty. I believe I called
Betty. All right, yeah, I've just been looking. I've been expecting someone would show up for her, but you're not him. Definitely not.
No, we are. We're actually investigating his disappearance, and Betty's file would be of some help.
Gotcha. This would be Betty, that golden Labrador Retriever, Miami, Florida.
That sounds correct. That fits in with the
30 months old. Goes on long walks on the beach.
Sounds exactly right.
Yeah. All right.
Owned by an Alex Hernandez.
Alex. Yeah. All right. 1 second, and I'll get you her file. And
thank you very much,
sir. And as he starts to lead you into the office, he hang on a second. We're gonna say not you, Jerome, but as he starts to head into the office, Dan, he hands you the calf. Just make sure that you keep it tilted up so she can. There you go. All right, and just without a word, otherwise, just heads to the office.
Hands me the cat.
Calf.
calf?
Calf.
Yeah.
I
Baby
presume
cow.
it's a cow.
Like,
Baby
like
cow.
a baby cow.
Like a bovine.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's a bit. I know. Yeah, no. You got. Yeah. No. There you go. All right, and tilt it up, and there you go. All right, thank you for that. And just completely seamlessly heads into the office with that. Actually, I'll do you one better. And before he steps into the office, he kind of cups his thumb to his finger and then presses them into his mouth, lets out this piercing whistle that gets, of course, all the dogs barking.
Yep.
But all of them just kind of like bark in place, despite that. And then he heads inside. Any of you who want to can follow him. He's just kind of going.
I will follow, not at a polite distance.
He
I'm
pulls.
I'm going to kind of hang near Jerome.
Sorry, can Eric? Can you repeat that?
I'm waiting to see Betty.
So Farmer McDonald pulls out the top drawer of this 3-drawer cabinet, starts leafing through it really quickly. He's like, "All right, let's see here. Beatrice, no. Benny, no. Beowulf, nope. Bet. Betty. Goes through
Right.
Betty after Betty after Betty. While that's going on, anyone who's outside, you can make a perception check. And
Is
Dan,
Cannon
make
do this with disadvantage?
Passive is 15.
all right.
Run was in 18.
Yeah, all of you see this coming. This beautiful golden retriever comes dashing across the field, barking cheerfully and happily. And as the one dog that responded to this perfectly tuned whistle that the farmer gave off to summon her. And she dashes into the room, and her toenails kind of click on the floorboards. Just as the McDonald pulls out her file. All right, there you are, and there you are, little Missy. How you doing? And he passes the file on to you, Gideon, without even making eye contact with you, and then just immediately goes to laying all his attention on this dog.
Understandable. Thank you, Mr.
So,
McDonald.
Nick, I've got a question, and I'm wondering, like a mechanical question. I'm wondering if I could use comprehend languages on a dead animal to talk to it.
You can.
Excellent. I want to cast comprehend languages and talk to Betty.
Yeah, so the issue that is at work here, as we have established previously, is that all languages kind of run through like this automatic translation just to make things easier on everyone from all these different walks of life so they can understand each other. That does not automatically apply to animals. That requires more of a specialization in order to do so. But you have access to the spell. You can use it like that. And, the same can be said for talk to animals or whatever kind of spells do that kind of thing. So, do you want to go ahead and do that now, or are you just asking for it for future reference?
I'm going to do it now because I want to talk to the dog.
Okay. You cast that spell. Gideon, you're looking through Betty's file.
Yes, I'm reading the file.
This is much shorter than you are used to for files because it's more almost like adoption paperwork for a pet than all the information that exists to cover a person's life.
Right.
So there's maybe 5 sheets of paper that are stapled together. This file can only have been here for a day or two max, and somehow it looks very, very crumpled and not very pristine, as if it's been shoved into this filing cabinet many, many times, even though it was probably filled out and then put into it once.
Morphological effects make sense.
Yep. Yeah. As you going through it, Dan, you kind of listening on the conversation that McDonald is having with Betty, and you see that as McDonald is saying stuff like, "Oh, who's a good girl?" Betty is going, I'm a good girl. Hello, how are you? Quack, 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 quack. Phoebe, hello, play. Let's go play. Yay.
Hey, Betty, how are you?
Hello, I'm Betty.
Yeah, are you having a good time here? I gently put down the calf and like go and start like petting Betty.
I like it here. I get all the pets I want. There's plenty of room to run, and I play fetch and stuff. I miss Alex. Oh, it's so much fun to play. Yay!
Yeah, I was wondering. Do you remember what happened to Alex?
Make a persuasion roll for me.
You shouldn't.
How average? 13.
Yeah.
Alex is my friend. I love Alex so much. We were running around and we were walking and she just kind of like stops talking and just kind of like stares up into your eyes while panting and wagging her tail.
Golden retriever, you say, Nick.
Flat line and go.
I like how I just had that experience of dealing with the 56K modem once more.
I just off in the distance, Tad is like seated on a trunk and is like reading poems to the animals.
There's a bunch of creatures that are just sitting in a quiet circle around you. The dogs quietly wagging their tails.
Just this is just silliest antics. Love it.
So you don't remember anything about that day? You were running around the beach, and then what happened?
I remember that day. It's fun to run around here.
Yeah. Yeah, but what about that day with Alex? Like, do you remember what happened when you were running around on the beach?
Is it lunchtime? We should go find Alex. I want Alex to come here so that we can run around together.
Yeah, we're looking for Alex. We're hoping you could help us.
Are you Alex's friend?
I'd like to be.
Yay! I'm Betty.
Golden retrievers.
Yeah.
You've done the friendliest things ever.
Gideon.
Yes.
You look into Betty's file. Dogs aren't great for like giving post-mortem interviews.
I'm not surprised.
So you don't get much information there other than just like raw data in terms of like, okay, Betty seemingly deceased roughly a day or two after Alex did, which in terms of the date that you already know. So she's a pretty new arrival here, hence why Rashiz was able to tell you about her.
Yep.
It's because it was fresh information that was on her mind.
Right. Mostly what I'm looking for is actually mostly the data stuff, honestly. Like, you know, where she's from, like, you know, does it have the address she was living at with Alex? Just,
you know what?
There any sort of data about the real world where she lived and died that might be helpful. I don't know. I'm just looking for raw data.
Give me an investigation check on that. I'm just kind of curious about this because I had one idea about this going in, and now there's another idea, and I'm just kind of going to let the dice decide.
Reminder: I do have observant, so I have a passive investigative 19.
Okay.
Yeah, that beats
That was
my
a good thing
5
you
that
had
I rolled.
Yeah, so you get the basic information of, you know, it's like, okay, you know, Miami, Florida. However, it is a standard thing for, you know, any owned pet to just have that information on their like collar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to say that that's just like readily available information.
Right.
Like if Betty passed while wearing her collar, then they would have taken that and noted it down.
Right.
So you do have a home address
good.
from her license. She's no longer like wearing a collar or anything.
Right, but she had yeah.
She had one when she died, and so that was copied over into the file.
Right. Is there any other sort of raw data that might be useful in there? I'm not expecting like useful like interviewee data. It's a golden retriever.
What kind of day are you looking for?
I don't know is the problem. Like
my initial instinct is like not really, but
what I was hoping, literally, the main thing I was hoping to find was maybe an address.
Yeah, you've got that.
Great. That is more information than we had.
Yeah. Like you've also got like a phone number because that would also appear on the license.
That's not going to be very useful since Alex is already dead.
I understand, but like, that's the kind of thing you get from that.
All right, I will reach into my sort of internal pocket of my coat, pull out a notepad and a pen, write the address down. Okay. All right, we've got somewhere to go investigate in the real world if we need to. Because that information was very likely not on Alex's paperwork.
Alex, Dan, her head kind of jerks around at the mention of her human's name.
No, we're just looking for Alex.
Very good.
He can help us, though. He can tell us what happened that day on the beach.
We were walking.
You remember anything else?
We were walking. I found a stick. You want to see the stick? I don't have the stick. I'm sorry. I can't show you the stick. I can find another stick. There are sticks around here.
Sticks are good.
Yeah. Lunchtime?
I take it I'm not going to get a lot out of this dog.
If you try and use the dog as an informant, no, you will not.
Okay. So much
Give
for that.
me a... What's a good roll for this? Give me an insight check, I guess.
Insight.
You can make this with advantage because you're talking. You are literally talking with animals. Right?
Oh, there you go.
You rolled a nat 20. All right.
Okay, cool.
Dogs aren't good for sitting and talking,
Right.
but dogs are good for doing. So maybe if you try and ask Betty to recount events of something, that's going to be a no-go. But she could probably show you where she was.
Yeah. Why don't you show? How would I go about doing that? Wait a minute. The farm has to have a beach on it.
So, in addition to that, it is possible for the deceased to go into the physical world in exceptional cases. It's generally, obviously, you can't just have people just going willy-nilly there. But, each of you who is here in an official capacity has the ability to do that when the time is needed. And you could probably get permission to take, say, Reiko with you, or Betty with you, especially if it's we are investigating this case that was given to us. This is a lead. You could probably get that very easily.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll set about getting that then. Getting that done. That's my plan.
Not to mention that the fact that it's a dog and not a person is probably going to make it a little bit easier to do.
Yeah. Dogs aren't going to try and escape the afterlife in order to cause shenanigans. They are just well, I'm here and there's room to run around. So,
Hooray.
Yeah, I'm a dog.
All right, I will return the file to Mr. McDonald.
all right.
Mr. McDonald, thank you very much. This was actually of actual help. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome, son.
Excellent. All right. Here's the file. Dan, do you have any ideas has anything come to you after talking with Betty?
Yeah. I think we can probably get her to help us out if we can get to the living world on that beach.
Oh,
She might be able to show us exactly what was going on.
that's a distinct possibility. That's a good idea. Yes, we'll have to arrange for that. So yes, we may be we may be requesting Betty escort us to the real world to investigate the circumstances of what led to her owner's passing, her person's passing, I should say. Yes.
All right.
But I will talk to the people, the people in charge and get proper paperwork handled for that.
All right. You keep on taking on that fancy officialness stuff. I'll hang on one second here. Girl, come over here. And immediately Betty obediently gets up and trots over to the farmer as he bends down to her. All right, there you go, pretty girl. And now you listen, honey. These people are going to help you find Alex, but I need you to be a good girl with them, all right? And Betty kind of just, is panting while sitting and looking up at him and says, okay. and you get the sense that like something has happened here. Like there has been some sort of animal handling check that has a bonus to it that you don't want to think about. And you basically, Betty, will be fairly easy to direct as far as hyperactive dogs go.
Right. Fair enough.
On this mission with you.
All right. I will look at it. Thank you for agreeing to help us, Betty.
I'm Betty.
Yes.
Yeah, you're a good puppy, a good dog, Betty.
Oh, I am. Thank you.
Yeah, you are. We'll
You're
see you
good.
soon, though.
You're a good abyssal shadow monster.
Thank you. I appreciate that too.
Eddie, what the fuck?
Well, it's an accurate description of the Italian.
Betty knows.
How does the
Betty-
dog know what that is?
Dogs know the darndest things.
Dogs can see things in the real world. That's why
Dogs
they're
are very
barking
good at
nothing.
seeing what's actually there.
Yes. Yes. All right.
That's why they're always barking at shit.
Exactly.
Cats also are very good at seeing what's always there, which is why they don't give a shit.
Yes.
So while they're all doing all this, and Tan's over there being the poetic beastmaster.
I am the Beastmaster.
Reiko is just gonna chill with her own cat near with Jerome, and it's just gonna kind of like be observing Jerome, given how Jerome usually reacts, but has been acting since animals have shown up, and she's like kind of threading the pieces together in her head.
Yeah,
So she's just kind of like gazing at Jerome at the moment.
Jerome's feathers are like at like alert position. Where he's
I will
just-
say that at one point, Tan's just like, and then they found the bone.
Immediate like chorus of what the equivalent of applause would be. they're like dogs don't clap their hands, but they're like wagging their tails in such perfect synchronicity that it sounds like an applause. And one or two of them go.
This is like just the absurdity of just what Dan is doing is great.
The cats look bored.
The next chapter is theirs. Don't worry.
Okay.
And when it gets there.
Of course, the cats look bored. They always have to look bored.
Yeah.
They're like those guys at the concert that are really enjoying it, but can't let you know they're really enjoying it.
Yeah, because they're analyzing it. They're
Yeah.
appreciating it on a different level. You see.
They're too cool for school.
Oh
Oh
Jerome is like ruffled.
Yeah, Jerome is ruffled. His feathers his eyes are a little wide. He's kind of like, he's definitely having a little bit of trouble staying focused because of all the noise and all the things and all the tasty little critters running around.
Having trouble over there?
And Jerome's like, yes, some of the changes aren't voluntary. When they he's kind of like muttering to himself like when they did this to me, I don't know if they did this as a joke or not, but I've had problems with small animals ever since I've arrived here.
I suppose that this one, she says, pointing to the cat on her chest, is troublesome for you as well.
Jerome's he looks down. So I can adjust to it eventually when I get to know it. It's new animals. It's the new smells, the new sounds.
So the unknown are prey, but the familiar are not.
Yes.
I suppose that tracks well enough. We do have a tendency to have like a pet pig or whatever but then have all kinds of tonkatsu.
It's just like, what? Right now, he's just like, what does that word mean? What does that word mean? Oh God, there's a juicy one right there. He just sees a mouse go by. It's like, God damn, what's that word mean?
See,
Start-
this is why I'm glad I'm a shadowy space monster.
There are occasionally moments as the animals are running by, and Jerome just imagines them as like hot dogs running around.
Oh, go full Looney Tunes. That's great.
He's like, I'm gonna head out and wait by the whatever. What did we use to get here?
We walked.
Power plot. That's what we used.
And he
We used
kinda,
the road. That's what we used.
Yeah, he kind of just like ruffles his feathers and like walks back down the path. You see like some like mice like are on like the fence. He just kind of like backs away. He's like, ah.
No.
He
Rico
just-
will follow Jerome and is just going to ask, if I were to speak of different subjects, would that help distract you from what you're trying to avoid?
Yeah. As they get further down the road, he calms down a bit. He's like, yes, that might actually be helpful. Is there something you
All right.
wish to know?
Well, you have this whole owl thing going on. Can you fly?
Yeah, he does like extend his wing, and you do notice that there's like buttons down along his like the sleeve. And he kind of just like takes a talent on them really quickly. And there is like a fully functional wing there. It's like, yes, I can. It's actually quite helpful. I try not to do it too much in the living world in case somebody does see me, because the last time I did that in Virginia, like there was a Mothman sighting.
I don't think they cited you very well then.
I don't know. There's really nice tattoo there. I thought it was a pretty good likeness.
It was really funny to me because Yolna always brings up Mothman whenever cryptids come up. And she's in West Virginia.
Mothman is the sexiest of all cryptids, so of course.
If you say so.
I'll take your word for that one.
Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't
All
even know
right.
what most of them are.
So I'm gonna say that we're gonna be like winding down
Yeah,
here because that's a good break
I
point.
thought that sounded. I was guessing it might be the case.
Next stretch of your investigation into this case, we will take care of next week.
Okay.
So, but if there is anything, at the end, you guys want to do to wrap up, we can do that, and then we'll just kind of close out.
Well, I guess I will bid Farmer McDonald and Betty a farewell, and head down the path.
Oh, Betty's coming with you.
Oh, Betty's coming with us. Well, very well.
Yeah, because we're going to.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, that's right. Well, very well. Come along, Betty. I imagine she's following Dentalian, probably.
We're going on a walk.
Yep, we're going on a walk.
I don't have comprehend languages up at the moment, so I can't understand her. But I can sort of,
Just
I can guess the gist.
There's not a lot of complex ideas coming out of that.
I can cast comprehend languages. I just didn't.
Yeah, like it's just like the same thing. Like, just like, yeah, Jerome can do that too. But like, it's like I think Jerome should be in the back for this one.
All right, then. I think we'll call it there,
Okay.
guys. So,
All right.
next time you guys will head to
The real
physical
world.
seemingly, and we'll see what you guys are able to find out.
Hopefully, we'll find out something useful.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this session of D&D Abeyance. We will see you guys soon. Next time we play.
Yes.
Yes. Hooray!
Huzzah!
Hey.
Thanks for running, Nick. And to those of you watching YouTube, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in the near future. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.